Transitions and resiliency. Making the change or transitioning into daycare, into preschool, and into elementary school can make children and parents uneasy. It is normal to feel this way when encountering a new environment, unfamiliar people, and a different routine. As the following podcast shows, there are steps parents can take to prepare their children and themselves to make these transitions as smooth as possible.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the research work you've done on transitions?
Sure. My name is Jeanette Pelletier. I'm a developmental psychologist at the University of Toronto, and I teach at the Institute of Child Study, a 2-year master's teacher education program. And I also teach PhD students who are training to become developmental psychologists. Prior to my stint as a faculty member, I was a kindergarten teacher many years ago and a grade 1 teacher in English and in French immersion, and also a school psychologist for a short time. So my area has always been the early years, the 3 to 6-year-old group, and my research has been primarily in the transitions that young children make from childcare to kindergarten or from home to kindergarten. One of the research projects that I've done was a parenting and readiness center study out in the region of Peel, in which schools offered 12-week registered readiness, if you will, programs, although we don't use that word readiness all the time. That's what they called them then. And the idea was that parents would bring their young child who was going to begin kindergarten the next year for a 12-week session. It was taught by a kindergarten teacher. It was much like a kindergarten program, but instead of just children coming, parents and children came together. So the results of that study showed long-term impact socially, emotionally, academically for the children. And the greatest thing was that parents felt confident. They felt that they learned about transitions and ways to help their young children transition. There are 2 other research projects. One is a family literacy program that ranges between 6 and 9 weeks, in which parents can come to school and learn about literacy in particular for that age group. And the final program is an integrated early childhood services program called Toronto First Duty, and that's available on the Toronto First Duty website.
So what are some of the ways that parents can help get their child ready for junior kindergarten or senior kindergarten if they've never before been enrolled in a structured preschool or daycare setting?
Okay, well, I think the most important thing is that parents listen to their children. Children have ideas about what kindergarten is going to be like, so if parents can just listen to their child talk about his or her feelings. If parents can inform themselves about what kindergarten is going to be like, either by visiting the kindergarten, attending welcome and information sessions, and getting themselves knowledgeable, then they can help talk their child through it. Communicating with the teacher in advance is another fantastic strategy, and many teachers offer that. Our research has shown that children who've been through kindergarten say that getting to know the rules is the most important piece of kindergarten. So if children can know what the rules are, like where to hang up their coats and where to go to the washroom and how to get the teacher's attention and how they're going to have their snack, if they can know all those things, that relieves their stress in a big way. They just want to know what to expect. There are many wonderful books available on starting school. If parents can read those books with their child, there are many funny stories and many stories that really get inside the head of young children. I guess another important piece is if parents cannot convey their own feelings of anxiety about their children starting school, that goes a long way to help their child. When parents have a hard time letting go, children then have a hard time letting go as well.
So for children who have been in preschool or nursery programs, but not in daycare, did they need any extra transitioning to ease into junior kindergarten or senior kindergarten?
Yes, well, preschool or nursery programs are often 2 mornings a week or 2 afternoons a week, whereas junior, senior kindergarten most likely is every day, either half a day or all day. So that's one piece that is worth talking about. It's also important to hear what children think kindergarten will be like. to rehearse with them what the new routines will be like, how those routines will be similar, or how they'll be different from what they've experienced in preschool or nursery school. In addition, the preschool program may have followed a particular philosophical orientation with a particular curriculum focus, such as Waldorf or Montessori or Froebel, that type of thing, whereas the kindergarten program is more likely to follow the teacher's own philosophical orientation, and he or she will use the Ontario curriculum document or provincial document to guide his or her program. So I would say the philosophical orientation might lend a significant difference as well.
For children who are or have been in full-day care and will be going to kindergarten for part of the day, what can parents do to help them make the transition into kindergarten?
Right, so here we're talking about a full-day program for children, whether they're in childcare kindergarten in one site or whether they're in childcare kindergarten in two different sites. It's really good to talk about change before it happens. Even when the childcare is located in the same school as the kindergarten, there will be questions in children's mind about how they're going to get from their child care to the kindergarten, and what's going to be the same and what's going to be different. They have many questions about the similarities and differences. So if parents can get the answers to those questions and talk with the child ahead of time about it, that's very helpful. Typically in kindergarten there would be more children, for instance, than there would be in childcare because of the ratio. So if parents can slant that positively to say that, you'll have even more opportunity to develop friendships in kindergarten. Another factor that sometimes parents are concerned about is rest time. Although it's not as common anymore, even in childcare, for children to have rest time or nap time. Certainly, if an individual child or a group of children needs a rest, that would be provided in childcare, but it would also be provided in kindergarten through a quiet area in the class, maybe with pillows, where children can lie down for a few moments. And as children get older or develop throughout the kindergarten year, the teachers can adjust their rest and activity programs accordingly. Another factor is that child care often involves being driven to the locale, so parents drive their child to child care, whereas in kindergarten they may walk to the community school. So that's a difference that children should have a chance to talk about. The big school involves kids of other grade levels, sometimes kindergarten to grade 8 or even grade 12, and so knowing that there will be kids of other age groups, older kids in the school, is something to talk about. One of the most important pieces is the bus. From my own research, children talk about that more than anything else, and then I take the bus, and then I take the bus. So that's because it's a big issue for them, getting on the bus, getting off the bus, who's going to take me to the bus, who's going to pick me up from the bus. So going over those routines are very important. And I guess a final point would be that Ontario, at least, is moving to full-day early learning for 4- and 5-year-olds. So this is going to be blended childcare kindergarten, co-taught by an early childhood educator and a kindergarten teacher. And so children in that program are not going to be experiencing transitions in the same way.